Hey, what's up, fellas? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, mother? Just got out of training here today. I don't know what day it is. It's a Monday, though. Over here at VRMA out in Hollywood. Today was a pretty good day, pretty chill day. Just worked in the morning and then came out here to train in the afternoon. Didn't really have much to eat today. Only had like an apple before class. Um, but I felt fine and I felt like it was enough. It was just a little sugar before class. So it worked out pretty good. If you guys can do me a favor and just hit a like or a comment, or even subscribe, that'd be sweet. But anyways, today I just wanted to talk about building friendships on the mat and building friendships in your school. You know, for me, when I first started, um, and I walked into a jiu-jitsu gym, one of the very first things they asked me was, which I thought was kind of corny, was, like, what do you hope to achieve by training jiu-jitsu? And so I just gave a standard kind of corny answer. I just said, making friends, building my confidence, um, getting a good workout, learning something new. And in retrospect, 7 or 8 years later, that's all things that I ended up getting out of jiu-jitsu, and making friends was one of the big ones, because I started jiu-jitsu when I first moved to Florida, and I didn't know anybody. And for me, I don't like having friends outside of work, from work. So, you know, if I have a buddy at work and I go hang out with them outside of work, sometimes they look at you differently, or they respect you less, or they just treat you differently, or sometimes you want to turn up and you don't want to have to see that person the next day, or sometimes you want to just be goofy and and make fun of yourself a little bit, but you also want to be taken seriously when you're at work. So it's just something that I've never really liked, for me personally. And so when I moved here, I wanted to find a way to make some friends outside of work and meet some new people. So I was hoping that jujitsu was going to do that, but I didn't know if that was going to be the case or not. But that was definitely one of my goals when I started, was just to have a group of guy friends. I'm like a guy's guy. Like, I like having a group of guy friends. If I need to get out of the house, if I got to get away from my girl for a little bit, if I got to vent about something, some people that'll understand me and have some sympathy for my plight. Because your family might not have that sympathy, your coworkers, your girlfriend. Just sometimes you find that sympathy, or you find that connection uh, outside of stuff like that. And I've always liked to have friends everywhere. Like, I like having a lot of friends. I don't like, you know, going and hanging out all the time. But when I'm at jujitsu, I like making friends with people, and I like sitting around the mats after class and talking and kicking it and getting to know people and trying to relate with different kinds of people. Um, but for the most part, I work and I eat and I spend time with my girlfriend and her family and my family if I can. And that usually doesn't leave a lot of time for most of us adults outside of that to have friendships. So having jujitsu is kind of like my scheduled time to spend with friends, but also to get my workout, also to build confidence, also to learn something new, and all the things that I mentioned originally, you know? And it's for real like that once you get in and you start to open yourself up, and you try not to be shy, and you try to talk to people you never met before, you know? So that's really what I did, man. I just tried to always be friendly, even even when it comes to rolling. It's like, I'm not the guy that's going to try to rip your arm off. I'll slowly apply pressure, and then we can keep it moving. You have to fight for your life sometimes, but for the most part, you're just kicking it with the homies and you're learning a new technique. And I try to stay laid back and relax with it and just have some fun. That's really what I enjoy the most, is just, it's laid back, it's fun. If you want to turn up, some days you have a bad day and you want to take it out on somebody, you can do that too. You just try to do it with a higher belt, or somebody that's that's able to handle it, you know. And so that's kind of what I use it for. Um, and I've found that I've made a lot of friends through jiu-jitsu so far. You know, this is only the second school I've been at. The first school I was at, I really enjoyed. Made a lot of friends there. Uh, and if you train for long enough, you know, like these people become kind of like family to you. You know, sometimes you see them more than you see your cousins or your uncles or your mother and your father. You know, and that's how it is for me. You know, my family lives in New York and California and Texas. Um, and North Carolina and different places, so I don't get to spend a lot of time with them except on the phone, you know. So it sounds kind of weird, but you build like a brotherhood, you know. I have a brother, you know, and he's my best friend, um, and I like that, you know. I like having a brother, you know, and if I can have 10 more brothers, you know, more power to me, you know. Got a big brother in here, kicks my ass every day. He's a hard ass, um, but he looks out for me, and I can tell he wants me to win. You know, I can tell. You know, he wants me to be better, a better person, a better jiu-jitsu artist, and and I respect it, and I'm grateful for his friendship. You know, and then there's other guys who I try to do the same for. You know, um, dudes that are older than me, dudes that are younger than me, it doesn't matter. You know, um, people give you your respect depending on what kind of person you are. You know, and if you're a good person and you're looking out for people below you, um, or not necessarily below you, but just looking out for other people in general, you know, I've realized that there's a lot of good people in this world, you know, and don't let the politics and the TV and the government and all this stuff get it twisted out here, you know. There's a lot of good people out here, a lot of good people that really want good for you, you know. But if you're cooped up in your house, if you're cooped up on your video games, if you're cooped up only with the same two or three people all the time, then you can think the world is your enemy. You know, you can think going out there, going outside your house, it's just people that don't want the best for you, and people that are trying to take advantage of you, or people that want to get one over on you. And I was kind of like that a little bit, you know, when I was growing up, just because, you know, I don't know what it was, man, but where I grew up, it was like, you know, and this is me too. Don't I'm not putting this on other people. This is me too, but it's kind of like every man for themselves. And yeah, you have friendships and stuff like that, but it's still kind of an every man for themselves selfish mentality, you know. I got to get mine, and you know, what do you want from me, you know, type of mentality, you know. And that's kind of how I was, you know. And it wasn't until I met my girlfriend and I realized kind of like not everybody's like that, you know, and it's okay not to be like that, you know. Not everybody's trying to get over on you. Not everybody's trying to take from you. You know, some people are trying to just give for free. You know, some people are just trying to give you something for nothing. And you know, hopefully you take that and you do the same for others, you know. That's what life's really about, man. It's really about just when you get to a place in your life that you can give back or give to others, man, you got to do it, man, just because there's things far greater than ourselves, you know. There's things far greater than ourselves, and you don't usually realize that until you get a little bit older and a little bit wiser, and a little bit smarter, you know. And you realize that being selfish is just it's just a mind game, you know. It's a mind state, you know. It's a mind state that you're in, probably because you never met a lot of people that aren't like that, you know. And that was my case, you know. I never grew up with like a lot of very generous people that would just give you something for nothing, or that would just, you know, go out of their way to watch you succeed, you know, or wanted the best for you, even if that meant, you know, something had to come out of their pocket, if you will. And so, you know, my girl was like that, her family was like that, you know, and other people in my life were like that, you know. And so I've tried to take that on, and you know, they say take from people what you like and try to try to make that into the person that you are, you know. And that's what I've been trying to do, is just kind of make myself a better person. You know, I'm 40 something now, so life is going quick, man. Every year flies by, you know. And it's just, every year is flying by, so you start thinking of things other than money and good looking women and drugs or whatever the case might be. You know, you look beyond the superficial and you start looking into things like God and what it all means and how you can make some type of impact before you go, you know. And so that's all I'm really telling you guys, is that don't be afraid to come out here and make friends. Don't be afraid to go and sign up and know that, you know, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it, you know. So just want to leave you guys with that message today. It's kind of how I'm feeling today after class. I sat around class for a little bit and hung out with some of the guys, and just great guys, you know. Got to kick it and talk mess, and I really enjoy it. So that's one of my favorite things about Jiu Jitsu, and hopefully you guys will start and you'll realize that as well if you haven't started already. All right, so but I'll see you guys again next time after class. I'll try to do these again after every class, just because it only takes like 10-15 minutes of my time to kind of to talk a little bit. So I'm going to try to keep these coming. I know the quality of the videos aren't very good. I know I don't have any good thumbnails or anything like that, so I'm hoping to work on those things when I get some downtime and hopefully make this channel a little bit better. So we'll see how it goes. But okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign out, and I'll check you next time.